The pursuit of the American dream by most is defined as the ability to get a job, make money, from there find that significant other, create a family, and from there let the family grow in the pursuit of happiness. What most people don't talk about is that the American dream requires debt in order to make it happen. The issue is, what debt are Americans carrying and why are they doing it? It's important that we understand what different types of debt we're carrying and why we're doing it in order to understand if it's a good idea to carry debt or not. So in this situation, we're going to be talking about four different categories of debt. We're going to talk about large debt, we're going to talk about medical bills, we're going to talk about scholarships, college debt, and we're going to talk about travel and entertainment. One of the authors that I found on the internet by the name of Kelly Holland is quoted in her book, 8 in 10 Americans are in debt, is that the fact is that Americans are going to continue to carry more and more debt as time goes on. I brought a chart I'd like to direct your attention to. In 1947 through 2016, this chart shows as a percentage overall of the gross domestic product, the amount of debt Americans are carrying. And you can see in 1947, it's a very, very small trend, and then as time goes on up to 2016, you can see it just increased immensely. What this means is, Kelly Holland is correct. Americans are carrying more debt than they ever have before. Over on this side, you can see this chart shows the categories of debt that we're going to be talking about. We'll be talking about large debt, medical bills, we'll be talking about scholarship, and we'll talk about travel and entertainment. So from there, I'd like to say that as an American, as one who's pursuing the dream along with the rest of you, I've had all four of these debts. And in some cases, I've paid them off and then started all over again. So I share with you this opportunity and would like to explain these different categories. With that, let's talk about large debt. Okay? So in this case, we're going to define this as purchases of houses at this point. In order to determine if the house is going to be a large debt or not, there's questions that have to be asked. How much money are you going to be spending? Is it a large house, a small house? Is it going to be out in the country with a lot of land? Is it going to be in the city with a little land? These are things that you need to look at. But the housing also costs money. There's other things to consider. Repair and maintenance for the house can be expensive. You have to make sure the roofing, the condition of the house is fine, windows don't leak. Plus you need appliances. You may need a washer, dryer, you may need a refrigerator, you may need a stove, all of these types of things, not to mention outside stuff, lawnmowers as well. So furniture inside is also important. You want to invite friends over to entertain, you need a place for them to sit, you need dining room tables, chairs, couches, these kind of things. All these things costing money. Then you want to entertain people. In order to do that, you may decide to buy a TV, cable, or satellite bills may come to support that, or even the internet. And then last but not least, insurance costs. You have to be able to make sure things are protected. Fire, theft, and even flood may be a requirement of home ownership. So you can see that all those together equal a lot of money that Americans are paying. And the real question is, how much or how little do you want to pay is the real question here. So let's talk about the second opportunity. This is medical bills. Okay? So I found another author. Her name is Olga Kosin. She's the author of the web article, Why Americans Are Drowning in Medical Debt. And her point is that roughly 40% of Americans owe collectors money for times that they were sick. 40%, which is a large number here. Okay? So the issue here at this point is that people get sick, and when they do, they need help, they need care. Hopefully they get better, but in most cases they may have to go to the hospital, and there are huge costs involved. The cost for not only the care, but for new techniques, medicine, prescriptions, all these type of things really mount up. The other issue is that when you're in the hospital and you're trying to get better from whatever issue that you've had, you're not working, and therefore you're not getting any money, so your other bills become a problem too. These are situations that make medical bills number 2 on the list on our category for some of the issues for medical bills that Americans are carrying. The question is, can you take care of yourself? Can you make sure that you can avoid some of these costs? With that, we move into tuitional debt, or college debt at this point. This is our third main point. Our same author, Kelly Howard, the author of 8 in 10 Americans in Debt, basically said that student loans are growing and becoming a part of the world that we live in. Now, I know most of us are going to college here that might be listening to this and understand that tuitional debt is large. We need to pay for books. We need to also live away from home if we choose an institution that's far enough away to increase those costs. So these things are important to the process to be able to make sure that we get a good education, but we end up making a big bill. Now, this bill takes time to pay off, and it's becoming a larger and larger bill as time goes on. All right. So the last situation that I'd like to talk to you about is called travel and entertainment. In this travel and entertainment opportunity here, we're looking at things like maybe international travel, vacations in the U.S., or maybe even buying things, going to dinner, that new computer or hobby that you have. So I've found someone by the name of Mark Metzer, and he wrote an article called "The Poll: More Americans Expect to Be in Debt Forever." And what Metzer says at this point in time is that Americans plan and go into debt for a significant amount of time. And what he's really trying to say is, with travel time, we can take up to 2 to 3 months in order to be able to figure out a travel plan to go and take vacation, and then take up to a year to pay for that vacation. And these are just some of the things that we do when we look at travel and entertainment. So in conclusion, we talked about 4 different types of debts that we're looking at here. We talked about large payments like housing, medical, costs and bills, college and tuition, and travel costs and entertainment. And of those 4 costs, we've understood why we're doing these kind of things in order to pursue the American dream. So in conclusion, I have to ask all Americans, if in going after the American dream, do you really need to borrow money? Or maybe you would like to consider saying, my dream is to actually buy something with money that I have in the bank, because debt is something that I don't need to do. That's the dream I have for everybody here. Thank you.